So it's the start of a new day, and in Wyoming is an underrated state. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of sparsely populated, but for beauty, it's right up there. And there's not a lot of historical events, but if you enjoyed nature, it's definitely a place to be. So, but I'm going to be heading north to Montana right off the bat, and it's supposed to be another great day. So, should be a lot of fun. You know, heading off today in Wyoming, it's just incredible. Wyoming is open, spacious, and it kind of, every state kind of has its own feel. And Wyoming kind of gets overlooked by a lot of people because Wyoming, of course, has Yellowstone National Park in it, which just dominates all the tourist, searches from it. Just put in things to do about Wyoming. Yellowstone National Park is going to be right there at the top, and I'm not going to take anything away from Yellowstone, it's incredible, but there's a whole lot more to the state, and it's so open and so enjoyable just to kind of go around the country. And this, where I'm kind of in some of the back roads, not on the highway, which just streams through the state, but on the back highway you see these places, and they're so isolated from other places. It's hard to care about what's actually going on in the rest of the country when you're 50 miles from the nearest town. I mean, I was literally on this road for over an hour and I didn't see another car. That's how isolated it can be. One of the things people might ask, and I actually did ask this, is that you can be in one section of this about on 50 miles from a gas station, easy, sometimes 60, in all directions. And I'm wondering, how do these farms, these ranches that I'm coming across, how do they operate if you have to drive just 100 miles round trip just to get gas? Well, they answer the question. Once a month, a truck comes around with gasoline, and pretty much every single ranch here has an underground tank where they fill it up with gasoline and they just siphon off that, whether it's 100, 200 gallon tank. So, that was an interesting tidbit of knowledge that, you get to hear, and that's how they do it, once a month. So I pulled over here in Wyoming. I'm near a place called Clearwater, because this is the Clearwater Creek. I guess that's obviously it's named after. 132 people live there, and it survives off basically two things, and it has a lot of hay farms. So what they actually do is they're farming hay for the winter months to supply all the livestock, or when they go into the barns or whatnot. Look at that. So picturesque, so scenic, Wyoming. Now, going through here, I noticed this. Walking area, you're allowed to kind of go in. Fishing allowed, no hunting. I mean, this is far more open, far more kind than it would be in New York. New York, it would say, do not enter. But just look at it. It's great out here. I mean, there's just nothing but Wyoming to not love. The other thing, like, I think people have forgotten is that a lot of these places in Wyoming, they are just so open. They're not. There's a lot of designated places to hunt because even though there's a lot of ranches, a lot of the ranches are quite open in this area because and so you can kind of see like buffalo. I didn't see any herd, but I saw a solitary little buffalo just kind of like wandering around the herds. I guess, you know, they don't disturb the horses or the cattle at all. And they're basically free to move through a lot of these things. The cattle are a lot more, I guess, tied up or penned in, as it were, while the horses are a lot more loose and kind of mingle. I saw a couple times where a single buffalo was kind of like mingling with the horses. So I guess they get along just fine. You know, who knew how those animals would kind of all interact with each other? Let's look at this. What a view. Don't get this in New York. It is, but it's different. It's a lot more forested. But the beauty is that the key is you keep going, eventually you turn north. In north, I went into Montana. And Montana is one of those big states. This whole area is geologically fascinating because you have so many things. So it's so wide open. You have Yellowstone. You have Bighorns National Park, which I must say is actually on my left here. And the reason I didn't go through it is, I don't know if you can see it, but if you look, the clouds are low-lying clouds, and they're clipping the top of Bighorns National Park. And I talked to someone who had come out of it and said, yeah, you climb up there, it looks great, then you get in the clouds and you can't see because it's all foggy as you kind of head across. So that's the reason why I didn't go into Bighorns National Park, because I did not feel like going up just to not see anything. Have to hit it some other day when the weather is nicer up there. The weather was nice here, but just low-lying clouds hurt it. But it was great, and there's a little bit of history in the area. You got Little Bighorn, a few other things kind of going on, but the main draw is just the spectacular, the omnipresence of